The July morning arrives thick and heavy, the kind of Ohio heat that makes the air feel solid. It's 6:45 a.m. on July 14th, 1992, and Sarah Elizabeth Hartwell wakes exactly when she always wakes, no alarm needed, her body tuned to the rhythm of summer mornings. She lies still for a moment, listening. Emma breathes beside her in the twin bed they share, even though they each have their own, because neither likes sleeping alone. Through the open window, cicadas drone their endless summer song. Downstairs, their mother hums off-key in the kitchen, preparing breakfast. Normal sounds, Tuesday sounds, the sounds of the last morning of their lives, though no one knows this yet. Sarah reaches for the purple notebook on the nightstand, the one where she records observations about neighborhood animals. Yesterday, Mrs. Chen's cat caught a bird, felt bad for bird, but that's nature. Mom says predators have to eat too, this morning. She draws a small bird in the margin. Not a star, she only draws stars when she's happy. Today she draws a bird with its wings spread, frozen mid-flight. Before we continue this shocking story, take a second to hit subscribe and like this video. Your support helps bring these forgotten stories to light, and the algorithm gods will make sure you don't miss any future uploads. She touches Emma's shoulder, once, twice. Their ritual, Emma's eyes open. Blue-green like Sarah's, like looking in a mirror that moves differently. Emma smiles without fully waking, reaches for Sarah's hand, interlocks their pinkies. They lie like that for 3 minutes, Sarah counted once, before the day really begins. "You are my sunshine" drifts up from downstairs, Linda Hartwell's voice hitting the wrong notes in exactly the right way, the way only their mother can. Both girls smile at the ceiling. In 4 hours, Linda will stop singing forever. But right now, this moment, the song is just their mother being their mother, and the morning is just a morning, and nothing has gone wrong yet. Sarah slides out of bed first, always first, 4 minutes older, naturally the leader. Emma follows, twisting a strand of hair around her index finger, still half dreaming. They navigate their shared bedroom in the synchronized way of people who've never been alone. Stepping around the plastic animal figurines Sarah has arranged by species and size, 47 total, she counts them every night. Past the drawing table covered in Emma's crayon sketches of horses and dogs, and the family that includes a father who's supposed to visit this weekend but probably won't. Their daily routine unfolds like clockwork. Sarah feeds Sparkle the goldfish, 3 flakes, no more, no less, while Emma draws in bed for exactly 10 minutes. At 7:15, they appear in the kitchen where Linda has made pancakes in Mickey Mouse shapes, because it's summer and she can take time, because she's off work until August, because these weeks with her daughters are precious and she knows it, though she doesn't know how precious, doesn't know she has 4 hours left. Morning bookends, Linda says, kissing each forehead in turn. She touches the back of her hand to Sarah's temple, then Emma's, checking for fever even though neither is sick. It's what her own mother did, what mothers do, the small touches that say, "I'm here, you're safe, I'm watching." Sarah sits with her purple notebook propped against the orange juice carton, recording the cardinal family nesting in the oak tree. Emma draws on her napkin, making abstract patterns in crayon while she eats. Linda hums and flips pancakes and doesn't notice when Rick Schaffer pulls into the driveway at 7:42 a.m. 17 minutes earlier than expected. Rick cleans his glasses on his shirt before getting out of his car, twice. The lenses are already clean. His hands shake slightly as he retrieves the grocery bag from the passenger seat, lemons, sugar, plastic cups with cartoon characters. He's been planning this for 3 days, just enough sedatives to make the girls sleep for a few hours, that's all. He and Linda need time alone. She's been stressed, distant, and he loves her. And if he could just have a few hours without the constant needs of 8-year-olds, he could remind her why they're good together. It's not wrong, it's just sleep. Kids need naps anyway, he whistles as he walks to the door. Off-key, the same 3-note pattern he always whistles when he's nervous. The cicadas drone louder, masking the sound. Inside, Linda sees him through the window and her face shifts, surprise, then pleasure, then a small frown. "You're early," she says when she opens the door. "Wanted to spend more time with my favorite people," Rick says, kissing her cheek. He smells like the drugstore soap he always uses, like the chemistry lab where he teaches summer school, like something slightly bitter that Linda can't quite place. He sets the grocery bag on the counter. "Brought stuff for lemonade, it's supposed to hit 95 today. Thought the girls might like something cold." Sarah looks up from her notebook. Studies Rick with the careful assessment she applies to everything. She's never been entirely comfortable with him, can't name why, just something in the way he watches them and how his smiles don't quite reach his eyes. But Mom loves him and Mom has been happier since he came around, so Sarah keeps her concerns to herself. Emma waves with sticky fingers. She likes Rick fine. He brings them candy and doesn't mind when she gets crayon on things. She hasn't learned yet that likable and safe aren't always the same thing. "Can we help make lemonade?" Emma asks, already sliding off her chair. "Not this batch," Rick says quickly, too quickly. He cleans his glasses again. "This is my special recipe. You can help next time." Linda touches his shoulder. "We were just about to take a walk to the park. Want to come?" The park, hours in public, no quiet time. Rick's jaw tightens, but he smiles. "You go ahead. I'll get the lemonade ready for when you get back. Nice cold drinks waiting." "You're sweet," Linda says, kissing him. She doesn't see the relief in his face. Doesn't notice when he checks his watch, 8:03 a.m. If they leave by 8:15, walk for an hour, he has time, plenty of time. Sarah ties Emma's shoes while Emma holds still, trying not to wiggle. They're wearing matching denim shorts their grandmother bought them, and the yellow and blue friendship bracelets they made at day camp last summer. Sarah's red sneakers with rainbow laces, Emma's purple canvas shoes with the star she drew on the side in permanent marker. Sarah puts her purple notebook in her back pocket. Emma tucks Flopsy the stuffed bunny into her small backpack even though she's probably too old for stuffed animals but doesn't care. At 8:17 a.m., Linda herds the girls toward the door. We'll be back around 9:30. She tells Rick, don't work too hard on that lemonade. Take your time, Rick says. He's already pulling lemons from the bag, his back to them so they can't see his face. Enjoy the morning. Sarah pauses at the door, counts to 3, her ritual, her superstition, 1, 2, 3, then opens it. The July heat rushes in thick and damp. The cicadas scream their summer song. Emma holds Linda's hand with their pinkies interlocked the way she holds Sarah's. They walk down the driveway past Rick's car toward the sidewalk that leads to the park. Sarah turns back once, waves at the window where Rick stands watching. He waves back, then turns away before they're out of sight. She doesn't know why, but something cold touches her spine, something wrong she can't name. She touches Emma's shoulder twice, checking the way she always checks, and Emma squeezes her pinky in response. Reassurance, they're together, they're okay. By 9:30 a.m. When they return home with grass-stained knees and stories about the playground, Rick will have the lemonade ready, bright yellow in cartoon cups, cold from the refrigerator. Bitter underneath the sweet because he's ground 10 tablets of sedatives into powder and dissolved them in the pitcher. 10 tablets, split between 2 girls. He calculated the dosage based on their weight, approximately 60 pounds each. 5 tablets per child, enough to make them very sleepy. Not enough to hurt them. He's a chemistry teacher. He knows about dosages. He's sure, he's careful. He's only thinking about Linda, about having time with her, about saving their relationship. He's not thinking about how children metabolize differently than adults, how empty stomachs change absorption rates, how 2 small bodies might react to sedatives meant for people 3 times their size. He's not thinking about how this morning, this ordinary Tuesday morning in July 1992, will become the dividing line between before and after, the moment when a stupid, selfish mistake becomes something he can never take back, never fix, never escape. The morning sun climbs higher. The cicadas drone. The lemonade sits in the refrigerator, poison disguised as kindness. And Sarah and Emma Hartwell walk toward home, toward the cold drink that's waiting, toward the last hour of their lives. They hold hands the whole way back, pinkies interlocked, their friendship bracelets catching the light yellow and blue beads. 8 years of being inseparable, 25 years away from being found. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below. I'm always fascinated to see how far these stories travel and how they connect us across distances. At 9:34 a.m., Sarah and Emma Hartwell walk through their front door for the last time as living children. The house is cool after the heat outside, the air conditioner humming. Rick stands in the kitchen doorway, 3 cartoon cups on the counter behind him, 2 filled with yellow lemonade, 1 with plain water for Linda. His face is too bright, too eager. He's cleaned his glasses 4 times in the past hour. Perfect timing, he says, his voice higher than usual. Lemonade's ready, nice and cold. Emma beelines for the cups. She's always thirsty after playing. Sarah hesitates, that cold feeling touching her spine again, but it's just lemonade. Rick made lemonade. Mom is right there, smiling at him, and everything is normal. Everything is fine. Drink up, Rick says, handing Emma the first cup. Made it extra sweet. Emma gulps hers down fast, the way children do when they're hot and thirsty, makes a small face. Tastes funny. That's the fresh lemons. Rick says quickly, here Sarah, yours too. Sarah drinks more slowly, but she drinks. The lemonade is sweet and cold and underneath bitter. She doesn't finish it, sets the cup down half full. Can I go write in my notebook? Why don't you girls watch TV for a bit? Linda suggests. You've been running around all morning. The couch is soft and familiar. Emma curls into Sarah's side, Flopsy clutched in her arms. The TV plays cartoons neither of them really watches. Sarah tries to focus on the screen, but her eyelids feel heavy, so heavy. Emma yawns against her shoulder. Sarah fights the drowsiness. Something feels wrong, her body trained to tell her something her mind can't process, but the heaviness wins. She doesn't remember closing her eyes. Rick watches from the kitchen doorway, cleaning his glasses, waiting. 5 minutes, 10. Both girls slump together on the couch. Breathing slow and deep, Sarah's purple notebook has slipped from her pocket onto the floor. Emma's grip on Flopsy has loosened. They fell asleep fast, Linda says, laughing softly. Must have worn themselves out. They'll probably sleep for a few hours, Rick says. His throat is dry. Why don't we could go upstairs, have some time alone. Linda looks at the girls, peaceful on the couch, looks at Rick, at the hope in his face. She's exhausted from single parenting. From missing him during the week, from the constant weight of being everything to everyone. A few hours sounds like a gift. Okay, she says, let me check on them once more. She touches Emma's forehead, frowns. She feels cool. Air conditioning, Rick says too quickly. They're fine, come on, upstairs. Linda's bedroom door closes. Rick tries to focus on Linda, on the reason he did this, but his mind keeps drifting to the girls downstairs. They're fine, they're sleeping. He calculated the dosage carefully. They're fine. An hour passes. The house is quiet except for the air conditioner, the clock ticking in the kitchen, the cicadas outside. On the couch, Sarah and Emma don't move. Their breathing gets shallower, slower. The sedatives saturate their small bloodstreams, suppress their respiratory systems, shut down the signals that tell their lungs to work. At 11:47 a.m., Rick comes downstairs, checks on them because Linda asked him to before she showered. He approaches the couch, ready to see them sleeping peacefully. Sarah's lips are blue, the world tilts. Rick touches her shoulder the same way Sarah always touched Emma's, checking, but Sarah doesn't respond. He presses 2 fingers to her neck, searching for pulse, finds nothing, shakes her. Sarah, wake up. Emma is the same, blue lips, no pulse, no breath, still warm but completely still. Rick makes a sound that isn't quite human, not a scream, not a sob. Something between them. He shakes both girls harder, CPR training from high school, flooding back 30 compressions, 2 breaths, but he can't remember, can't think, can't process that this is happening. No, he whispers, no, wake up, please wake up. They don't wake up, they're not sleeping, they're not going to wake up. Ever, the chemistry teacher who calculated dosages, who was so careful, who only wanted a few hours alone, he understands suddenly that he's done something he can never undo. 8 years old, both of them, dead on the couch because he was selfish, because he wanted what he wanted more than he considered what could happen. He hears water running upstairs, Linda in the shower singing You Are My Sunshine off-key, unaware. She'll come downstairs in 10 minutes, she'll see her daughter's dead, she'll know he did this, she'll call 911, he'll go to prison. His life is over unless the thought arrives like a snake, unless she doesn't know, unless they just disappeared, unless he hides what happened, claims they ran off while he wasn't watching. Missing children, tragic but not murder, not his fault. The basement has the wall cavity he's been meaning to finish. The framing is there, the insulation, but no drywall yet, big enough for he stops the thought, starts it again, stops. But Linda is still showering and time is running, and if he's going to do this, if he's going to save himself, he has to do it now. At 12:15 p.m., Linda Hartwell comes downstairs with wet hair, expecting to find her daughter still sleeping, expecting normalcy to resume. Instead, she finds an empty couch, an empty house, Rick standing at the back door, face pale. Where are the girls? Rick cleans his glasses, the words come automatically, the lie fully formed. They woke up, said they were going to the park. I told them to wait, but they ran out. I was just about to go look for them. Linda's face shifts, confusion, then concern. They wouldn't go without asking. They were excited, you know how they are. Linda is already moving, grabbing her purse, her keys. How long ago? Maybe 10 minutes, 2 miles to the park. Linda runs to the car. Rick follows, his performance of concern perfect. His face showing exactly the right amount of worry. Behind them, the house sits empty. In the basement, hidden in a wall cavity and wrapped in sleeping bags from the garage, Sarah and Emma Hartwell lie where Rick placed them 20 minutes ago, their purple notebook and Flopsy tucked beside them, their friendship bracelets still on their wrists. The drywall Rick will hang tonight, already waiting against the wall, while Linda drives to the park with panic rising in her throat. Rick sits in the passenger seat calculating how long to search before calling police, how to explain the girls leaving without permission, how to be the concerned boyfriend who tried to stop them. His hands shake, he cleans his glasses. Maybe they went to your parents' house, he suggests, calm, reasonable. You know how they love visiting grandma. But Linda's mother hasn't seen them. The park is empty of children matching their description. By 1:30 p.m. Linda is crying. By 2:00 p.m. she's calling 911. The police arrive with questions Rick has practiced answering. Officer Martinez, 23 years old, newly promoted to detective, first major case, takes notes with careful precision. Something about Rick's story bothers her. The way he cleans his glasses while speaking. The way his timeline doesn't quite match Linda's. The way 2 8-year-olds supposedly walked 2 miles without being seen by anyone. You were watching them, Martinez asks. They were sleeping on the couch. I went to the bathroom. When I came back, they were gone. The back door was open. No, I mean yes, they must have opened it. Locked or unlocked? Rick hesitates. Half a second. Unlocked. Martinez writes something in her notebook. Later, she'll remember that hesitation. That half second where Rick Schaffer had to decide what lie to tell. The search begins in earnest at 4:00 p.m. Neighbors form teams. Volunteers scour the park, the woods, the creek beds. Police canvass the neighborhood with recent school photos. Sarah and Emma grinning, gap-toothed, identical. Last seen wearing denim shorts, t-shirts, friendship bracelets. Sarah's purple notebook missing. Emma's stuffed bunny gone. No jackets, no supplies. Just 2 little girls who supposedly walked out of a house and vanished into July heat. At 7:30 p.m., Linda stands in her living room surrounded by people, police, neighbors, Rick, and feels completely alone. The house is full and empty simultaneously. Her daughter's absence is a presence, something physical taking up space where they should be. Detective Martinez watches Rick Schaffer clean his glasses for the 14th time in 3 hours. Watches how he stands too close to Linda, one hand always on her shoulder or back. Possessive, proprietary. She makes another note. The first night becomes the second day. The second day becomes a week. Tips flood in. 2 blonde girls seen at a gas station 60 miles away at a rest stop at McDonald's. None of them are Sarah and Emma. Volunteers search an expanding radius. News cameras arrive. Linda sits for interviews, her face hollow, begging whoever took her daughters to bring them home. They're together, she tells the camera, as if this matters, as if being together makes it better. They're not alone, they have each other. She doesn't know they died together, doesn't know they're 15 feet below where she sleeps, sealed behind fresh drywall in Rick's newly finished basement project. By week 3, the case is on national news. Rick appears beside Linda, the concerned boyfriend, the last person to see the girls alive. He fields questions from reporters, from police, from Linda's family who have descended on the house in shifts of grief. He whistles off-key when he thinks no one is listening, cleans his glasses obsessively. helps with searches during the day, returns at night to the basement where he's hung family photos on the wall that contains the girls, creating a rec room over their tomb. Detective Martinez interrogates him 4 times. 4 times he passes. His story never changes because he's practiced it until it's smooth, until even he almost believes it. The polygraph is inconclusive. He's too anxious, the examiner says, too stressed by the whole situation. At 6 weeks, the case goes cold. Not officially, not in any formal sense, but in the way that matters. Leads exhausted, searches called off, volunteers drifting away, media moving to fresher tragedies. Linda stops eating, stops showering. Sits in the girls' bedroom touching their clothes, reading Sarah's notebook copies, arranging Emma's drawings. Rick starts teaching chemistry again in September. Students whisper. His girlfriend's daughters, they say, the missing twins, so sad. Rick nods, accepts condolences, goes home to the house he shares with Linda, who won't speak to him anymore, who stares at walls like she can see through them, who's dying by degrees of grief. He walks through the basement daily. Touches the wall sometimes. Feels the drywall he hung, the paint he applied, the family photos he mounted. His throat closes each time. He presses his palm flat against the surface and thinks, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, you were supposed to just sleep, but sorry changes nothing. The wall keeps it secret. The cicadas sing every summer, and 2 little girls stay 8 years old forever, waiting in the dark for someone to find them. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments. Cases like Sarah and Emma's touch communities everywhere. The 1990s missing children crisis affected all of us. Let me know where you're remembering this era from. The first year is an emergency. Linda moves through days in fragments, standing at windows, forgetting why she's standing there, sitting in the girls' bedroom for hours, unable to remember entering. Her parents move in, take over cooking, cleaning. Existing, Rick tries to stay close, but Linda flinches from his touch now. Blames him, doesn't say it, but he sees it in her eyes. You were watching them, you lost them. He doesn't correct her, can't. The truth is so much worse than her accusation. By October 1993, the first anniversary, the search parties have dissolved. The volunteers have returned to their lives. Only Linda remains frozen in July 1992, incapable of moving forward. Unwilling to accept what forward means. She stands in the elementary school parking lot on October 17th, the day that's become the anniversary in her mind, though the girls disappeared in July, waiting for them to run out of school doors that they never entered that year. Rain falls. She sits in her car for 8 hours, doesn't go home. Rick finds her there at midnight, engine long dead, staring at nothing. He taps on the window. She doesn't turn her head. He opens it. Sits in the passenger seat without speaking. They stay like that until 4 a.m. 2 people who love the same children, who can't save each other, who don't know that one of them holds all the answers the other is dying for. The second year, Linda's parents convince her to try therapy. She goes twice, tells the therapist that she dreams about walls, that she wakes up certain the girls are in the house, trapped somewhere she can't reach them. The therapist prescribes medication. Linda doesn't take it, can't explain that the dreams feel true, feel like knowledge instead of imagination. Rick moves out in 1994. Linda's grief has calcified into something impenetrable, and his guilt has made him radioactive. But he stays in Maplewood, keeps teaching at the high school, passes Linda's house sometimes, sees the shrine she's built in the window, photos of the girls, candles. Their friendship bracelets displayed in a shadow box because she had duplicates made before they disappeared, thinking they'd want new ones eventually. The bracelets on the girls' wrists, yellow and blue beads, rest inches from Rick's feet every time he walks through his basement. He doesn't know this, doesn't remember that they were wearing them. His mind has edited that detail out, along with so many others, until his memory of that day is more fiction than fact. By 1997, most of Maplewood has moved on. New families move into the neighborhood. Children who don't know about the twins play in yards where search parties once gathered. The elementary school hangs a memorial plaque in memory of Sarah and Emma Hartwell, forever in our hearts. 1984 to 1992. The dates are a lie. They don't know when the girls died, only when they disappeared, but memorials need dates. Need closure even when none exists. Linda drives by the plaque every day, touches it sometimes, running her fingers over the engraved names. You're not dead, she whispers. I'd know, I'd feel it. She does feel it, has felt it since July 14, 1992, a wrongness in her body like something vital has been removed, but she interprets it as connection, not loss, belief that the girls are out there somewhere waiting. Detective Martinez, now Detective Sergeant Martinez, keeps the file on her desk. Other cases come and go, solved and archived. Sarah and Emma's file stays open. She reviews it monthly, then quarterly, then yearly as the department pressures her to accept the case as cold, to move on, to stop wasting resources on 8-year-old disappearances with no leads. But something about Rick Schaffer never sat right, that half-second hesitation, the way he was always too helpful. Too cooperative, the basement he'd finished in the weeks after the disappearance. Martinez remembers asking to see it during the third search, seeing fresh drywall family photos hung, Rick explaining he'd been working on it for months, had just finished it right before the girls vanished. Timing that felt wrong then, still feels wrong now. She drives by his house sometimes. Rick, aging into his 40s, still teaching chemistry, still living alone. Still cleaning his glasses obsessively when he lectures about chemical reactions and molecular bonding. His students think he's quirky. Sad maybe. The teacher whose girlfriend's kids disappeared, so tragic. He accepts their sympathy, nods when they say how sorry they are, goes home to the house he bought in 1996 specifically because it has no basement. He can't live with basements anymore. Can't stand being underground. Sold his old house and hasn't been back to that address in 20 years. March 22, 1999. What would have been the twins' 15th birthday? Linda wakes in the house she's lived in since 1988 in the bedroom where she and the girls used to sing before bed and knows with sudden clarity that she's done. 7 years of waiting, 7 years of believing they'll walk through the door. 7 years of carrying hope that's gotten so heavy she can't breathe under its weight. She spends the day arranging things, writes letters to her parents, apologies, explanations, instructions, gathers every photo of Sarah and Emma, every drawing, every remnant, and surrounds herself with their faces. The purple notebook, photocopied pages, the original having been logged as evidence and then lost in department filing, sits on the bathroom counter. She reads Sarah's careful handwriting, saw Cardinal family again, baby's getting bigger. Mom says Cardinals mate for life, that's nice. Emma drew picture of them, love and loyalty and family, the things that should protect children, the things that failed. Linda fills the bathtub, the water rises, steam fogging the mirrors. She arranges the photos on the floor, the toilet lid, the counter, Sarah and Emma's faces surrounding her. Watching, waiting. She writes one final note in shaking handwriting. I'm sorry I couldn't find you, I'll see you soon. The water is warm when she lies down in it, warmer than she expected. Comforting, almost like being held. She closes her eyes and lets the pills she's been saving dissolve in her bloodstream, lets herself sink deeper into water that stops feeling like water and starts feeling like release. When her parents find her the next morning, the bathwater has gone cold and Linda's face is peaceful in a way it hasn't been since July 1992. The photos watch from every surface. Sarah and Emma, forever 8, forever missing, forever waiting for their mother who's finally stopped waiting for them. Rick hears about Linda's death through the Maplewood gossip network, sits in his car in the school parking lot, gripping the steering wheel, unable to process that his selfishness killed not 2 people but 3. That Linda died searching for children who'd been dead the whole time. That he could have saved her with 3 words there in the wall, but he didn't say them, doesn't say them. Goes home and pours the first of many drinks that will become his nightly ritual. Whiskey until the guilt goes numb, sleep until the dreams wake him. Morning classes teaching teenagers about chemical reactions while thinking, I killed 3 people by dissolving pills in lemonade. The knowledge sits in his chest like a stone. The years accumulate like sediment. 1999 becomes 2000, the millennium arrives and Sarah and Emma miss it. 2001 brings September 11th, national tragedy that makes individual tragedies feel smaller. 2005, 2010, the girls would be 21, old enough to drink, to vote, to have lives. They stay 8. Rick ages in fast forward, gray invades his temples, then overtakes them entirely. He needs reading glasses by 2008, can't see the whiteboard without them by 2012. His hands develop a tremor that makes cleaning his glasses a challenge. Students notice, think it's Parkinson's, don't know it's guilt manifesting physically. Martinez retires in 2015 after 40 years in law enforcement. The Hartwell case, still open, still unsolved, is the only failure that matters. She boxes up her files, takes them home, keeps them in her den where she reviews them during sleepless nights. 2 blonde girls who vanished into air, a boyfriend who set off every instinct she had but never tripped any evidence threshold, a mother who killed herself believing her children might still be alive. On her last day at the department, Martinez drives to Rick Schaffer's house, parks across the street, watches him arrive home from school, unlock his door, disappear inside. She wants to knock, wants to confront him with nothing but instinct and 25 years of certainty that he knows something. But instinct isn't evidence. Certainty isn't proof. She drives away. The case stays cold. In Maplewood, the house where the Hartwell twins lived, where Linda sang off-key and made Mickey Mouse pancakes and brushed their hair 100 strokes each, sits empty for 3 years after Linda's death. Then sells again in 2008. Then again in 2013. Each family lasting only a few years before moving on, citing vague reasons, bad energy, unsettling dreams, the feeling that something's wrong with the house. The house that actually contained something wrong. Rick's old house, now owned by James and Maria Chen since 2015, seems fine. No bad energy, no dreams, just a normal suburban house with a finished basement that the Chens use for storage and laundry. Maria likes the basement. It's cool in summer, warm in winter. The family photos the previous owner left behind make it feel homey. She doesn't notice how the photos are all positioned facing one wall. Doesn't register that the wall has slightly different paint than the others, as if it were finished later, touched up more carefully. She does notice in October 2017 that the basement sometimes smells strange, musty, old, like something organic breaking down. James blames the sewer line. Calls a plumber, the plumber finds nothing wrong. Then on October 3, 2017, Maria is alone in the basement sorting laundry when she hears it. A sound, rhythmic, soft, like breathing. She stops moving, basket of clothes frozen in her hands, listens. The sound continues, not from pipes, not from the furnace, from the wall, the one with the family photos. She sets down the basket, approaches the wall slowly, presses her ear against the drywall. Sound is clearer here, in and out, like lungs working, like the house is breathing. Her hand touches the wall and feels, she swears she feels vibration, subtle but present, alive. James, she calls upstairs, voice shaking. James, I need you down here. He comes, listens, hears it too. They stand together in front of the wall, listening to the impossible, feeling the wrongness that every previous owner felt but couldn't name. We need to open it, Maria whispers. James nods, can't explain why, but she's right. They need to open it. The wall wants them to. 25 years after Rick Schaffer sealed two little girls in drywall and paint, the wall begins to give them up. Make sure you've hit that notification bell. What happens when James and Maria open that wall will finally answer questions that have haunted this community for 25 years. The truth is more heartbreaking than anyone imagined. James Chen stands in his basement on October 4, 2017, holding a crowbar. Behind him, Maria paces, arms wrapped around herself. The breathing sound has gotten louder overnight, more insistent, and the smell, sweet and wrong and impossible to ignore, has intensified until opening windows upstairs does nothing. Maybe we should just call someone, Maria says, a contractor, an inspector, and tell them what our wall is breathing. James positions the crowbar against the drywall seam. We open it, see what's causing the problem, then call professionals if we need to. The crowbar bites into drywall with a crack that sounds too loud. James pulls and a chunk comes away in a cloud of ancient dust. Behind it, darkness, insulation, and something else. The smell hits them like a fist. James stumbles backward, dropping the crowbar. Maria gags, hand over her mouth. The smell is death, old death. 25 years of decomposition in a sealed space. Unmistakable and overwhelming. Oh God, James whispers. Oh God, he should stop, should call police immediately, but something compels him forward, the same instinct that made Maria press her ear to the wall, that made them both know something was wrong. He pulls away, more drywall, more insulation. His hands are shaking, then he sees it, not clearly at first. Just shapes in the darkness of the wall cavity. But as his eyes adjust, as his mind processes what it's seeing, bones, small bones, wrapped in something rotted and faded, and beside them a purple notebook, water-stained but intact. A stuffed animal, matted fur still holding the shape of a bunny. James backs away, stumbles, sits down hard on the concrete floor. Maria is screaming upstairs. He can hear her on the phone, frantic words, bodies in our wall, please come, please. He should look away, can't. His eyes catch on something else in the cavity. Two small wrists, bone only, still wearing beaded bracelets, yellow and blue beads, the colors bright against the horror. The first patrol car arrives at 2:47 p.m. By 3:15, the basement is full of personnel, uniformed officers, crime scene technicians, the county medical examiner. By 4 o'clock, Detective Russo, who inherited the Hartwell case when Martinez retired, stands at the cavity opening. Looking at what James found, two bodies, children, based on skeletal development, approximately 8 years old. Based on dental records they'll confirm later, Sarah Elizabeth Hartwell and Emma Rose Hartwell, missing since July 14, 1992, found October 4, 2017, 25 years, 2 months, and 20 days later. Russo makes the call at 4:32 p.m. Detective Martinez, it's Russo. I'm at 428 Maple Street, the old Schaffer house. He pauses, hears Martinez's sharp intake of breath. She knows the address, of course she knows it. We found them, we found the girls. The silence on the other end lasts 5 seconds, then, I'm coming. You're retired, Martinez, I'm coming. She arrives at 5:18 p.m., breaking every speed limit between her house and Maple Street. At 62 years old. With bad knees and reading glasses she refuses to wear, she moves down those basement stairs faster than officers half her age. The wall cavity is fully exposed now. The sleeping bags that held the girls have mostly rotted away. The bodies are skeletal, fragile, arranged side by side like they were sleeping. The purple notebook sits in an evidence bag already photographed and logged. Flopsy is in another bag. The friendship bracelets are still on their wrists, yellow and blue beads. Colors unfaded because they were sealed away from light, from air, from time. Martinez stands at the cavity opening for 3 full minutes, doesn't speak, just looks at what she searched for since she was 23 years old, the case that defined her career, the failure that haunted her into retirement, the 2 little girls she promised Linda Hartwell she'd find. I knew, she finally says, voice thick. I knew something was wrong with him. Russo stands beside her. Rick Schaffer, he lived here until 1996, sold the house and moved, finished this basement right after the girls disappeared. Martinez touches the wall above the cavity, her hand is shaking. I searched this house 4 times, walked through this basement, the drywall was fresh, I noticed it, I just didn't. She doesn't finish, doesn't need to. The wall was sealed before the searches, before the police arrived. Before anyone thought to look for bodies instead of missing children. It's not your fault, Russo says. Martinez wipes her eyes roughly. When she speaks again, her voice is steady, professional. Let's get him. At 6:45 a.m. on October 20th, Rick Schaffer leaves his apartment on the east side of Maplewood. He's 63 years old, retired from teaching 2 years ago, living alone in a building with no basement. His hands shake as he locks his door, tremor that's gotten worse with age. Doctor says it's essential tremor. Rick knows it's guilt finally manifesting so thoroughly his body can't hide it. He makes it 3 steps toward his car before he sees them. 3 detectives, 2 patrol cars. Martinez in the center, gray-haired and heavier than he remembers, but unmistakably her. The young detective who looked at him with suspicion 25 years ago now looking at him with certainty. His glasses slip down his nose. He reaches to clean them, realizes his hands are shaking too hard. The glasses fall, clatter on pavement. Richard Schaffer, Martinez says, her voice carrying across the parking lot. You're under arrest for the murders of Sarah Elizabeth Hartwell and Emma Rose Hartwell. The world stops. Rick hears the words but can't process them. Murders, they found them. After 25 years, they found them. I didn't, he starts. But tears choke the words off. I didn't mean to, they were supposed to just sleep. Miranda rights are read, handcuffs applied. Rick is crying openly now, 25 years of containment breaking like a dam. As they guide him to the patrol car, he sees Martinez watching him. Their eyes meet. You knew, he says. You always knew. I knew, Martinez confirms. I just couldn't prove it. In the patrol car. Rick looks through the window at the apartment he's lived in for 3 years. The life he's built on the foundation of 2 dead children. It's over. It's finally over. The relief that washes through him is nearly as powerful as the grief. They drive toward the station. Rick watches Maplewood pass by, the school where he taught, the houses where he lived, the streets where volunteers search for girls who were dead in his basement the whole time. He thinks about Linda, about her suicide. About 7 years she spent hoping while he stayed silent. I'm sorry, he whispers to the window, to the ghost of Linda, to the girls he killed. I'm so sorry. Sorry changes nothing, but it's all he has left to offer. The interrogation room at 9:00 a.m. is small and sterile. Rick sits across from Martinez and Russo, no lawyer present yet. He waived his right, said he wanted to talk, needed to talk after 25 years of silence. Tell us what happened. Martinez says, recording device running, evidence that will seal his fate. Rick tells them everything. The words pour out like confession, like relief, like poison finally expelled. He tells them about wanting time alone with Linda, about the sedatives dissolved in lemonade, about calculating dosages and being so careful, so sure, about finding them dead on the couch, blue-lipped and still, and panic replacing careful planning. I thought 10 tablets split between them would just make them sleepy, he says, hands clasped on the table. I calculated their weight. I'm a chemistry teacher. I know about dosages, but I didn't account for. He trails off. Children metabolize drugs differently. Empty stomachs increase absorption. I didn't think about that. I just wanted Linda to myself for a few hours. So you killed them, Russo says, flat, no judgment, just fact. I didn't mean to. Rick's voice breaks. They were supposed to wake up. They were supposed to be fine. When I found them, when I couldn't revive them, I panicked. Linda was upstairs. She was going to come down and see them dead and know I'd done something. You put them in the wall, Martinez finishes. I wrapped them in sleeping bags, carried them to the basement. There was a cavity framing but no drywall yet, big enough for both of them. He's crying again. Words coming through sobs. I put their things with them, the notebook Sarah always carried, the bunny Emma loved. I don't know what I thought, that they shouldn't be alone, that they'd want their things. The logic of panic, the reasoning of horror. Then I sealed it, hung drywall, plastered, painted, hung family photos over them. Rick looks at Martinez. You searched my house. You walked through that basement. I watched you look at the wall. I thought you'd see something. I almost wanted you to. But you didn't tell me, Martinez says. No. Rick drops his head into his hands. I let Linda search, let her die believing they might come home. I taught chemistry for 23 more years, stood in front of teenagers and taught them about chemical reactions, and all I could think about was dissolving pills in lemonade. About 2 little girls drinking poison, I made them. Where were you when the wall was discovered? Russo asks. Home. I heard about it on the news, police activity at my old address. I knew immediately. After 25 years I knew. Rick looks up. It was almost a relief. Finally it's over. The confession continues for 6 hours, every detail recorded, verified, documented. What kind of sedatives, prescription sleeping pills, his own, how many tablets, 10 ground to powder. What time the girls died, approximately 11:45 a.m. Based on when he found them, how he constructed the wall, standard drywall installation, nothing sophisticated. Why he kept the secret, fear, cowardice, self-preservation. At 3:00 p.m., Rick's public defender arrives and stops the questioning. But the damage is done, the confession is complete. The case, cold for 25 years, is closed in less than 24 hours. Martinez leaves the interrogation room and stands in the hallway, leaning against the wall. Feeling 62 years old in every sleepless night of the past 25 years. Russo finds her there. You okay? Martinez nods, can't speak yet. She spent a quarter-century searching for 2 little girls, found them in a wall exactly where her instincts said something was wrong, but the victory feels hollow. Linda Hartwell is dead, Dorothy and Frank Morrison are dead, the girls are bones, justice is 25 years too late. You found them. Russo says quietly, that matters. Martinez thinks about Linda sitting in her car in the rain, waiting for children who were already dead, thinks about her promise, I'll find them, thinks about how she did eventually, but not soon enough to save Linda from 7 years of torture. Yeah, she says finally, it matters, but some victories taste like ash. Rick Schaffer pleads guilty on November 17, 2017. No trial, no jury. Just a courtroom full of people waiting to hear him say it. His lawyer advises against it, suggests manslaughter, diminished capacity, argues the deaths were accidental, but Rick refuses. I killed them, he says, that's what happened, I killed them. The courtroom is half empty, most people who cared are dead. Linda gone 18 years, Dorothy and Frank Morrison, Linda's parents, died in 2003 and 2008 respectively, never knowing their granddaughters were found. Michael Hartwell, the absent father, died in 2012 of a heart attack, carrying his guilt for being unreliable but never knowing the full truth. The people who do attend are strangers mostly. Half-siblings Sarah and Emma never met, children from Michael's second marriage, neighbors who remember the search. Martinez, sitting in the front row, gray-haired and grim, Russo beside her. The prosecutor who doesn't need to argue because Rick's confession eliminated any defense. The months between confession and sentencing stretch like elastic. Rick sits in county jail, finally sleeping without nightmares for the first time in 25 years. The guilt he's carried has transformed from secret to public knowledge, and the shift paradoxically brings relief. He writes letters to people who won't read them, apologies to Linda's grave, explanations no one asked for. The court-appointed psychiatrist says he's clinically depressed, recommends medication. Rick refuses it, says he deserves to feel everything. James and Maria Chen move out of the house on Maple Street in December. Can't stay in a building that was a tomb. The house sits empty again, back on the market, another layer of tragedy added to its history. No one will buy it. Everyone knows what it contains contained. The bones are gone, but the knowledge remains, seeping into the foundation. Martinez visits the house once before it's sold, stands in the basement where the wall cavity is still open, marked with evidence tape. She touches the studs, the space where two children spent 25 years, tries to imagine them alive, Sarah with her purple notebook, Emma with her crayons, fails, can only see bones, only see the ending, never the beginning. I'm sorry, she whispers to the empty cavity. I should have known sooner, but sorry, like Rick's sorry, changes nothing. August 3, 2018, sentencing day arrives with brutal summer heat that recalls July 1992. The courtroom is fuller this time, people want to see the ending, want to witness justice even when it's decades late. Rick sits at the defense table in orange jail scrubs. He's lost 30 pounds since his arrest. His hair has gone completely white. The tremor in his hands is constant now. He looks like what he is, an old man who killed children and lived with it for 25 years. The weight of that knowledge has finally broken him. The judge, a woman young enough to have been in elementary school when Sarah and Emma disappeared, reviews the case file with clinical precision. 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of gross abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice. Does the state wish to be heard? She asks. The prosecutor stands, reads a victim impact statement from Martinez, who sits in the gallery, unable to speak herself without breaking. The statement talks about 25 years of searching, about Linda Hartwell's suicide, about 2 families destroyed, about trust betrayed by someone who should have protected the children he claimed to love. I carried Sarah and Emma Hartwell for 25 years, Martinez wrote. In my files, in my thoughts, in my dreams. I made them a promise I couldn't keep. I'll bring you home. And when I finally found them, they'd been home the whole time, 15 feet from where their mother slept, in the house of the man who killed them. Russo reads a statement from James and Maria Chen, who discovered the bodies and will carry that discovery forever. About nightmares, about the sound of breathing from walls, about the smell they can't forget. Then Rick's half-siblings from Michael's second marriage. People who barely knew Sarah and Emma, who were young when the twins disappeared, speak about growing up in the shadow of missing sisters, about Michael's guilt and distance, about family fractured by absence. The courtroom is silent except for these voices, speaking for the dead, speaking for themselves, speaking into a void that no sentence can fill. Finally, the judge looks at Rick. Does the defendant wish to address the court? Rick stands. His lawyer touches his arm. Don't, this can only hurt, but Rick shakes him off. When he speaks, his voice is steady. I don't have an excuse. I wanted time alone with Linda. I was selfish. I thought I could drug 2 children and it would be fine. They'd just sleep and Linda and I could have a few hours together. He pauses, wipes his eyes with shaking hands. I was wrong. They died. And instead of calling for help, instead of accepting what I'd done, I hid them. I sealed them in a wall and let their mother search for 25 years. I let her die believing they might come home. His voice breaks. He stops, continues. Every day for 25 years I woke up thinking, today I'll tell, today I'll confess, and every day I was too much of a coward. I taught chemistry, stood in front of teenagers, taught them about reactions and compounds and dosages, and all I could think about was 10 tablets dissolved in lemonade. The courtroom is completely silent. I don't expect forgiveness, Rick says. I don't deserve it. I just want to say I'm sorry to Sarah and Emma, to Linda, to everyone who searched and grieved and never stopped looking. I'm sorry I was too weak to tell the truth when it mattered. He sits, the judge waits a moment, then speaks. Mr. Schaffer, you are sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole on each count of involuntary manslaughter. Sentences to run consecutively. You will die in prison. That is the only certainty I can offer the families you destroyed. The gavel falls. Rick closes his eyes. Relief crosses his face, relief and grief and acceptance. He's 63 years old. He'll be 70 before he stops being processed. He'll die in a cell paying for 4 hours of selfishness and 25 years of cowardice. Martinez watches them take him away, feels nothing, not satisfaction, not closure. Not even the vindication of being right about him. Just exhaustion. 25 years of carrying 2 little girls, and this is the ending, an old man in handcuffs and everyone who should be here to see it already dead. The burial happens on a cold November afternoon, 26 years and 4 months after Sarah and Emma walked out their door for the last time. 2 small caskets chosen to match. Because even in death they should be together, sit beside Linda's grave in Maplewood Cemetery. The headstone is already in place. Sarah Elizabeth Hartwell, Emma Rose Hartwell, March 22, 1984, July 14, 1992, together always reunited with their mother, November 2018. 300 people attend. More than remembered them in life, more than searched for them. But a child's murder brings people out, brings them together in shared grief for innocence lost. The purple notebook sits in a shadow box at the memorial service, open to Sarah's last entry. Mrs. Chen's cat caught a bird, felt bad for bird, but that's nature. Nature, death, the cycle Sarah understood at 8 years old, not knowing she'd be caught in it. Flopsy, Emma's bunny, matted and stained but carefully preserved, rests in a memorial garden the cemetery created. Children's toys surround a bench where families can sit and remember. Martinez stands apart from the crowd, hands in her coat pockets, watching two small caskets being lowered into the ground. Beside them, Linda's grave, 18 years old now, the grass grown over, the flowers replaced seasonally by Dorothy's sister who never stopped tending it. Finally, they are together, mother and daughters. The bookends Linda used to call them, Sarah and Emma on either side of Linda, protecting her in death the way she tried to protect them in life. When the service ends, when the crowd disperses, Martinez approaches the graves alone. She touches each headstone in turn, cool marble under her palm, names carved deep. "I found you," she whispers. "I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry I couldn't save your mom, but I found you. I kept my promise." Behind her, the November wind rattles bare branches. The cicadas are long silent. It's not their season anymore. Won't be for months. But Martinez can hear them anyway, memory of that July buzzing in her ears. The last normal day, the heat, the girls walking toward home, toward lemonade, toward death. She stands there until the groundskeepers start filling the graves, until the sunset turns the headstones gold, until her knees ache and her hands are numb from cold. Russo finds her there as darkness falls. "Come on, Martinez, let's go home." Martinez nods, takes one last look at the three graves, side by side, family reunited. The ending no one wanted, but the only one possible. Rick Schaffer sits in his cell in Marion Correctional Institution. He's been there 18 months, will be there for life. The other inmates know what he did, child killer, even accidentally, even with remorse, and treat him accordingly. He spends most of his time in protective custody. Alone with his thoughts, alone with two little girls who visit his dreams every night. Sometimes in his nightmares they're drinking lemonade, yellow and bright and poisoned. Sometimes they're sleeping on the couch, getting colder. Sometimes they're in the wall, calling his name, asking why he didn't save them. He wakes up every morning and remembers they're real, not dreams. Real children he killed, real lives he ended, real mother he destroyed. The remorse is genuine. The psychiatrist confirms it, but remorse doesn't resurrect the dead, doesn't undo 25 years, doesn't bring Linda back from her bathtub or Sarah and Emma from their wall. Justice is served. Rick will die in prison, but the Hartwell family is still destroyed. Linda is still dead. Sarah and Emma are still 8 years old, forever frozen in time, denied the lives they should have lived. There is no closure, just endings, just graves where children shouldn't be. On a Sunday morning in December 2019, Martinez drives to Maplewood Cemetery. She does this monthly now, part of her routine. Brings flowers to three graves, sits on the bench by Flopsy's memorial garden. Reads Sarah's purple notebook, the original, returned to family and then donated to Martinez, no one else left to keep it. The entries are mundane, cardinals and squirrels, observations about weather, notes about Emma's drawings. The ordinary life of an 8-year-old girl who loved animals and wanted to open a shelter and never got the chance. Martinez traces Sarah's handwriting with one finger, wonders who Sarah would have become, who Emma would have been, the artist and the veterinarian, the twins who would be 35 now, who might have children of their own, who might have lived full lives if Rick Schaffer hadn't been selfish for 4 hours. The November wind is cold, but Martinez doesn't leave. Not yet. She owes them this witness, this remembering, this refusal to let them be forgotten. Behind her, footsteps on gravel, Russo carrying coffee. "Thought I'd find you here." They sit together on the bench looking at three headstones, not speaking, just present, just bearing witness to loss that never really heals, just becomes something you learn to carry. "You did find them," Russo says eventually. "That has to count for something." Martinez nods. "It counts. Just not as much as I hoped it would. Some victories are too small against the scale of what was lost, but they're still victories, still matter, still mean that two little girls aren't forgotten, aren't erased, aren't reduced to a cold case file in a box. They're Sarah and Emma, they mattered, they still matter, and that imperfect, insufficient, but real is what justice looks like when it arrives 25 years late. Not restoration, not healing, just witness, just memory. Just the refusal to let their story end with a wall and silence. Sarah Elizabeth Hartwell and Emma Rose Hartwell were here. They lived, they laughed, they held hands with pinkies interlocked. They wore friendship bracelets and carried notebooks and loved their mother. And when a man's selfishness took them, when cowardice sealed them in darkness, when 25 years passed in silence, someone still searched, someone still cared, someone still found them. In the end, that has to be enough. Even when it isn't, Sarah and Emma Hartwell deserved lives they never got to live. If this story moved you, please share it, not just for them, but for every missing child whose case sits cold, every family still searching, every detective who refuses to give up. What case should we cover next? Let me know in the comments below.